Hey everybody, failed entrepreneur, back again. I make crappy videos every day, so hit subscribe down below so you don't miss a single one. And today I talk about Joe Biden's podcast. Joe Biden has a podcast? Yeah, he actually does. So I heard about this a while ago and was interested just to kind of see what it would be like and the how and the why. And so this weekend I listened to a couple episodes. And so if you weren't familiar, Corona, of course, is very tough on a lot of industries and businesses, very tough on presidential candidates. You really can't go and travel and have campaigns and speeches and kiss babies, but for Joe Biden, those are all probably positives. He can't do those right now. So instead, to connect with people and get his message out, he's taken to podcasting, which is not a bad idea on the surface. Trump has kind of claimed Twitter as his own way to connect with people and get his message out there. So I guess Biden is picking the leftovers, and podcast is actually really not a bad idea. But is it executed well? Does it work? Is it worth a listen? That's what I wanted to figure out, and that's what I want to share with you right now. So the podcast is called "Here's the Deal" with Joe Biden. And I'll just read to you the description here right now. So it's on iTunes and Spotify, and I'm sure all those other things. On Here's the Deal, former Vice President Joe Biden provides a voice of clarity during uncertain times. Each episode will feature in-depth conversations about pressing issues with some of the nation's top experts, paired with the heart, compassion, and wisdom only Joe can deliver, right? Wow, smash subscribe that. So he started this back on March 29th, and he only has, I think, 6 episodes in season 1, and that was it. The last episode was April 22nd, so it's been almost 2 weeks since he's uploaded another one, so that's a very small season. I don't know if it's still going. Maybe it was an experiment. The podcast is not as bad as I thought. I thought it might be a little bit of a train wreck. Biden is in the news a lot for a lot of reasons, but one reason now is his cognitive abilities, right? He's made a couple gaffes. Well, he's always made gaffes, but just when he's out speaking and doing live Q's and A's, he's had some bad moments. So I'm just curious, is that showing up on the podcast? And I guess kind of surprisingly for me, that's not there. Actually, the podcast isn't terrible. It's very normal, kind of plain. Most episodes are very, very short. About 20 minutes is the average length of the episodes. There's 1 or 2 that maybe made it to the 40-minute length, but it's 20 minutes. So after the hellos and the introductions and that's it. There's not a lot of meat on that bone, but I don't know. He talks in complete sentences. He's not rambling. He's not going off in rambling, incoherent circles or nonsense. So he actually sounds kind of with it here. Is it overly produced? Are they cutting all that stuff out? Now, I'm sure these conversations, and he's interviewing people in these podcasts, which I'll get back to, but there's not a lot of jump cuts. There's not a lot of edits, and I was kind of looking for that. Maybe these are heavily produced if he's that bad, but he's not. It's just kind of a normal conversation of people, and very, very few edits, if any. So, there's music, it's produced and stuff, background music, and there's segments and everything. But it's not like they're trying to piece together a 20-minute conversation from a 2-hour recording, right? So that's not there. And in the podcast, he comes off as, I guess, likable, right? He talks a lot about, a lot of the episodes are Corona-based because that's what's going on right now, and that's why he's doing this. He does talk a lot about compassion and the American people and the good stuff that's kind of going on. Not a lot of Trump slamming, which I thought might be the case. He gets in some jabs here and there, but really, if Trump was doing a podcast, it would be Well, obviously no holds barred. That would be, this is not that, right? So Trump is still very, very civil here, and it's not a way to bag on Trump. I think it might benefit if he did that a little more, because there's no, the reason he's trying to run a campaign. He's trying to win an election. He can't go out and connect with people. So this is his alternative. I get that. Good idea. But the execution, if you didn't know this was Joe Biden, if they didn't mention it like maybe once or twice, I mean, I think some episodes, it literally wasn't even mentioned. I mean, he's running for president, but he's not really, he doesn't make a case. He's not campaigning. That's what I'm trying to say. This podcast isn't Biden campaigning, right? It's not a campaign stop. It's not a substitute for a campaign rally. It's just Joe interviewing people for the sake of interviewing them. It seems like a missed opportunity to me, right? Because again, the whole point is to get his message out. And a lot of times he has guests. Well, every time he has a guest on, because maybe just Joe Biden by himself would not be a good idea, right? And so he's interviewing people and asking them kind of softball questions. He had Amy Klobuchar, and he had, what's her name, the governor of Michigan on there, Gretchen Whitmer, I think, right? So it's just like kind of softball questions. He's friends with these people. It's not anything newsworthy or hard-hitting, no big revelations. They're just kind of chatting about politics, chatting about Corona and how we could do better. But it's just like, it's not, there's no leadership. There's no message. There's no message to the podcast, right? Again, what's his platform? What does he really stand for? It's not really, I want to do better, I guess, maybe, but there's not a lot of forcefulness here. And if that's what the podcast was about, like if it was a campaign rally in audio, right, or a speech in audio, then hey, there you go, they're trying. But right now, I don't think it's gonna, I don't see what effect this is gonna have. It'd be much better if he wants to reach out to others and connect with others. I'd say use this time and get on other popular podcasts and connect with those audiences. That would be a way better use of your time than here in a controlled environment. He's recording from his home in his basement, just like I am, right? These are short interviews. These are people that he knows. I'm sure it's all super planned and safe. So there's very little room for him to make his mistakes. But again, in that safe, and I don't know if he's getting any votes from this. Who's listening to this podcast, right? Unless you're crazy like me and you're just curious, I suspect that you're only going to listen if you like Joe Biden already, right? You're not picking up any swing votes with it. Hey, honey, what do you listen today? Let's say Joe Biden. That would be entertaining on the road. It's not going to happen. I can't see the views on here, so I don't know how many subscribers he has. Probably a little bit more than me right now. But it's just like, that was the point in your intention. Go on other podcasts and reach a bunch of different varied audiences, and then talk to that host and make yourself relatable and show people that you're a real person, right? And then answer questions of substance to really show people what you stand for. And I'm not saying he can still do that. I'm not saying, well, you do one podcast a day and that's it. I'm booked. I'm done. He, of course, is doing other things. But if you're going to go on the podcasting space, which again, I think is a good idea, I just think they're doing it a little bit wrong, because you're just connecting mainly with the people who already support you. You already have their votes. You're not changing their minds. It just seems like a waste of time. And maybe that's why they stopped uploading on April 22nd. It was an experiment. They were going to see how it goes, and maybe it turned out to be kind of just, which it is. It's not bad. It's not great. It's just kind of, So that's that. If you're curious, definitely go ahead and check it out. I don't think it's going to wow anybody. Like I said, it's very plain. It's very kind of general. There are no moments. There's no laugh out loud moments. There's no gotcha moments. There's no shocking. It's really just as vanilla, plain as it can be, which maybe, like I said, is not in, well, Joe Biden's in a weird situation right now. You can't out Trump. But, you got to show people you got a pulse, right? If Bernie Sanders was doing a podcast, right, that would be, I don't want to say entertaining, like that's the only thing that qualifies, right? But if you want to get views, if you want to get interest, and this is the kettle calling itself black right now, right? You have to find a way to share your personality with people, right? And like this, it just kind of shows Biden's personality is kind of just, plain old guy personality, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, mixed bag. But not terrible, not good, not great either. If you're interested, check it out. But like I said, I don't think it's what his campaign should be doing right now. But it's a good idea, good experiment. Can't fault them for that. So, but yeah, I listened to Joe Biden's podcast and I didn't hate it. Yeah, go figure. All right, that's it for today. I got things to do. I know you do too. Thank you for watching, and this is Failed Entrepreneur, and I'll catch you later. Bye.